Okay, let's start. Hello all and welcome to this eStamp Masterclass. Again, as we wait for the last few people to join, a few house rules. If you have any questions before or during the session, please drop them in the Q&A box below. We will take them all up. Two, we will be sending a recording of this webinar to the email with which you registered for this webinar. It's great to see so many people joining, especially on a Friday morning. And I see some webinar regulars as well who have been joining our webinars for quite a while, almost 1.5 years, 2 years. So thank you for joining. We are your hosts for today. I am Aditya, Head of Marketing at Leegality. Before Leegality, I was a practicing lawyer in the courts in Bangalore. So I have actual experience with admitting stamped documents and unstamped documents into court even before I joined Leegality. I'm joined by Shubhesh, who leads product marketing efforts at Leegality. He will be showing us a demo of how digital stamping works via Leegality in about 25 minutes. Before that, a small word from our sponsors, which is Leegality. Leegality runs BharatStamp, India's largest private digital stamping network. Through BharatStamp, you can affix stamp papers digitally at scale across 31 states and union territories. BharatStamp is used by some of India's largest companies who have moved away from procurement-heavy, costly physical stamping to faster, cheaper digital stamping via Leegality. So I assume most of you are here because you have a deep operational interest in ensuring digital stamping in your business processes. And stamping itself, of course, is a critical pillar of electronic agreements because without digital stamping, it's impossible to go truly paperless for agreement flows. Secondly, non-stamping of a document can also delay enforcement and recovery proceedings. So if you try to admit a non-stamped document as evidence, the court will impound it. You will then need to go to sub-registrar to pay penalty, which can be about 10x the stamp duty amount. Then you go unimpound the document in court. This whole process can delay things by a lot, 2 weeks, if not more, right? But for such an important process with such consequences, there's a shocking lack of accurate information online about it. Most people learn about it via vibes, word of mouth, and quite frankly, just outdated notions, right? That's what we're trying to dispel in this session. There's a small poll before we move ahead, just to understand where you are coming from and your clarity about digital stamping. Do answer the poll. Would be happy to know the audience mix and what kind of doubts you have about stamping. So I'll just leave the poll running for maybe 30 more seconds before we move on. A good mix, actually, it's like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for all three options, which is good because we will be covering all three in today's webinar. So I'll just leave the poll open for about 15, 20 more seconds before I end it, and then we'll continue. Great. Thank you. So in the next 45 minutes, what we will be doing is you will learn a 4-step framework to implement e-stamping at scale, not just for a single document, but as a core digital process change in your organizations. So let's start right with step one. So step one, of course, is to check whether the document needs stamping or not, because the question goes away if your document doesn't need stamping. We often get comments and questions like, hey, how do we know if stamp duty applies? Or even statements like stamp duty does not apply to my document, said very confidently, right? Let's clarify how you can actually know this without a doubt. There are 3 steps, right? Step one is to check if the document is written and if it creates any legal rights or liabilities, right? This is key because something like, say, an offer letter or a welcome letter will not attract stamp duty because it does not create any legal rights or liabilities. Step two is to then look at the relevant Stamp Act, right? Look first to see if there is any state stamping law applicable to this. For example, if the subject of the transaction is in Karnataka or the instrument is finally executed in Karnataka, then you need to look at the Karnataka Stamp Act and not the Indian Stamp Act, right? And if there is no state stamping law, then look at the Indian Stamp Act. and see specifically when you look at the Indian Stamp Act if there are any state level amendments applicable to your state, right? Don't neglect this step. Third part to this, and this is more like a rule of thumb than a step, is if your document is an agreement, then it has to be stamped, right? All stamp acts across the country make all agreements stampable, right? So what stamp duty needs to be paid, you need to obviously look at the acts and the schedule in the acts. But there is no question of any agreement between parties not having stamp duty. So that's the three-part stamp duty applicability framework. Three steps, three parts. Go through all when you need to decide whether an agreement needs to be stamped. Do not go on the basis of vibes or on the basis of, oh, that person told me this doesn't need stamping. This person told me it doesn't need stamping. RBI has not mentioned stamping. All of that doesn't matter. Go through these three steps. So that's step one. How do you know when an agreement is stamped? And the TLDR of the previous section is mostly you will need to stamp it. Step two is, of course, once you need to stamp it, is to ensure the correct stamp duty is paid in every case on the ground, right? Because here we're talking about digital stamping at scale across your business processes, not a one-off thing, right? So if you want to build a digital stamping system that runs at scale, this is probably one of the most important steps. So with e-stamping or digital stamping, stamping happens in one of two ways. One is completely automatic, where the system automatically picks up the stamp duty and affixes it. No issues here. The other is manual, right? Where the system is digital, like you still do digital stamping, but decisions about what stamp to affix or what stamp duty to pay are taken by people on the ground, field staff, office staff, right? The key here is to move as far as possible to automated systems, because in the manual system on the right, there's always a chance of error, which results in incorrect stamp duty being paid, which then has consequences for your organization. So to solve this problem at scale, we at Leegality have built an eStamp calculator that we will be launching in June. What you do with this functionality is that you hard code your stamp duty logic, which is of course signed off by our legal or compliance teams, into Leegality. Then in each case where a document is being sent for signing, stamp duty will be auto calculated and the correct stamp papers will be auto applied, right? There's a small poll. If you would like to get access to an early demo of the stamp duty calculator, I think we are going to have a poll running. Please vote yes. Okay, there is no poll. Okay. I think it's a wrong poll. We'll reshare the poll. Cool. Anyway, we'll tell you how to contact us for this. So with something like the stamp duty calculator, you can convert manual field-driven processes into semi-automated or automated processes, right? So where you still have your field or office staff doing things on the ground and they're running the process on the ground, but the stamp duty part is automated thanks to the stamp duty calculator. And essentially discretion is taken out of their hands. So that's step two, ensuring that on the ground, correct stamp duty is paid in every case. The next part, probably the most critical part, is to ensure that whatever digital e-stamping method you use is actually compliant with Indian law. Because stamping is first and foremost a legal process, right? It's not a technical process. You need technology to do it. You need APIs to do it. But at its core, stamping is a legal process with very specific legal requirements. And any technology you build cannot override these legal requirements. So it is as much a compliance architecture, or probably more so, it is more of a compliance architecture than it is, say, a tech or API architecture. So there are five legal requirements under Indian law for compliance stamping. One, there needs to be legally compliant defacement of the stamp paper before it is digitized. Two, the first party name should appear on the stamp paper. Three, there needs to be a clear indication that the stamp paper is being used for a specific document. And by this, we don't simply mean, oh, the stamp paper is used for, say, loan agreements. It means that this specific stamp paper is used for this specific loan agreement, right? Four, of course, stamp paper must be received from government authorized vendors, or if the provider is generating it themselves, they must have requisite permission, legal permission to do it. And fifth, of course, this is the IT Act requirement, is that the digital stamp paper must be identical to its corresponding physical copy in cases where you're digitizing by getting physical stamp paper and then digitizing it. So requirements 2 and 4 here, first party name and authorized vendors, are quite obvious. We don't really need to go into them much. But requirements 1, 3, and 5 are interlinked and can be slightly confusing. They're actually simple, but they can be slightly confusing. So let's go a bit deeper. Let's take the first one, for example, defacement, right? I think most of you will be familiar with a legend that we put on stamp papers, right? Most of us put it, right? You write it down or you type it. This is defacement. Very simple, right? One. Number three, simple defacement is not possible, right? You need to ensure that the legend ties the stamp paper to the specific document. So one is defacement via legend, and three determines the contents of the legend, right? In your legend, you won't just put a legend, you will put this stamp paper is for this loan agreement between so and so parties. There'll be some unique identifier that ties it to the agreement. Number 5, which is the IT Act one, the stamp paper must be identical to the corresponding physical copy, right? Which means that in a situation where you're getting a physical stamp and converting it to a digital stamp, you actually need to deface the physical copy first before digitizing the stamp paper. This ensures, as you can see on the bottom row here, that the digital copy is identical in appearance to the physical copy. Many, what they do is do the thing on the top row, where they buy the stamp paper and upload it. It's digitized, and then they digitally put a legend. So this is super convenient, but unfortunately also super illegal, right? Because the stamp paper in physical form, if you see in the top row, will look very different from the stamp paper in digital form. And in theory, you can take that physical stamp paper and use it for other purposes, even though you've used it digitally for another purpose, which is again super illegal, right? So just remember, deface it physically and then digitize. If you use multiple stamp papers per day or month, all need to follow this process: defaced physically with a specific legend and then digitized, right? So just simple: deface and then digitize, deface and then digitize. Do not digitize and then deface, right? Just deface and then digitize. So we've collated all legal learnings from the previous 3 minutes into this easy to use checklist. When we share the deck with you, we will share this with you along with the recording by Monday. You'll be able to use this checklist to do two things. One is, if you're evaluating a digital stamping process for your organization that you're looking to say build or buy, you can use this checklist to evaluate the legal compliance. Two, if you have an existing digital stamping system, you can take this checklist and audit it to see if it is legally compliant or not. So that's legal requirements. Now we're on to the final step, which is an operational step, ensuring that your stamping flow does not face two key operational challenges, right? First one is, of course, eStamp, like it should not face downtime, right? So a lot of people who face this problem don't actually know they have a problem, right? We often encounter companies that say that, we already have a digital stamping process successful. It's live already. Yet when we poke them further, they admit that they face downtime and outage during month end without fail, right? Which is kind of a contradiction if you think about it, right? Think about any other tech process. Would you accept this level of downtime every month, right? Like, let's say you had a payments process running and it was down 1/5 of the time or 1/6 of the time. Would you actually, with a straight face, say that, hey, I have a successful payment process running? You wouldn't. You would probably fire the vendor, right? For having 1/6 of the time being down. So, but for stamping, for some reason, we often hear this that, hey, we have this downtime, but we have a stamping vendor and supposedly is running successfully, even though it doesn't work 1/6 of the time, right? And I think this is because people just assume this is how stamping is. It really doesn't have to be this way. You can and should aim for near 100% uptime with digital stamping. Codify that in your SLAs, in your MSAs, because as we mentioned, it is a critical compliance process. You cannot accept lower than 99.9% for a critical compliance process, right? So that's the first challenge. The second big operational hurdle is stamp wastage. This especially is a hurdle at higher volumes. So what exactly do we mean by this, right? So if any digital flow, like you're doing an e-sign flow with digital stamping, there are bound to be some drop-offs, right? They can be very innocuous, like the signer loses it in their SMS inbox and the link expires, right? And you resend the link. It's very common in any digital flow to do a second transaction. In some stamping systems, what happens is the stamp is consumed upon generation. So what this means is if you send an e-sign link to someone, it gets lost in their inbox, the link expires, you also lose that stamp paper. So the sign doesn't happen, yet you lose a stamp paper and you incur cost on that stamp paper. So when building a system, try to ensure that if the signer drops off, the stamp gets put back into the inventory. It's a very simple thing to evaluate. So yeah, that's it. That's the first part of the webinar done. I will now hand it over to Shubhesh to do the demo. But before that, want to make a very exciting announcement. Leegality is incredibly excited to announce that we have entered into an official partnership with SHCIL, where we will provide inventory-less stamping to companies across 22 states. Right? This is digital stamping, where stamp is generated and affixed on the fly with zero physical inventory. We will be launching this as well sometime in the next month. But for all attendees of this webinar, we are willing to give you an early demo before the launch. I think, yeah, there is a poll. Answer this poll. Yeah, there's a poll on screen. Please answer yes if you would like an early demo for completely inventory-less digital stamping, and we will reach out to you accordingly. I'll let the poll run for about 30 seconds before I hand it over to Shubhesh for the demo. All right, over to you, Shubhesh, for the demo.
Thanks a lot, Aditya. So I'll just share my screen and let me know once it's visible. Okay. There are going to be two parts to this demo. Part one is going to be what it is going to be like for your signers when you affix a e-stamp on the agreement. In second part would be how do you set that up. So what I've done so far is I've created a agreement, I've e-stamped it and I've sent it to the signer, which is me in this case, to e-sign it. So here's my e-sign invite to this. As soon as I click on this, I will see a agreement which is fully e-stamped, and this has been e-stamped via Leegality. It will show for which state it is. This is using a sandbox, so it says XYZ state, but when you do use the production account of Leegality and procure actual stamps, it's going to tell you exactly, it's going to be the actual stamp that you use. It's going to have a unique stamp serial number, which will be the unique identifier for this particular stamp, so that you know the same stamp cannot be reused for multiple agreements. Then there will be a this legend which will be used to deface this particular stamp, and the unique identifier we spoke about during when we were talking about the rules which govern e-stamping in India. So this unique ID is a unique ID which is present on the document itself. So this document that you see on the top of it is this unique ID and stamp serial number. Similarly, on this stamp as well, there's a unique ID and a stamp serial number. This way, you'll be, with certainty be able to tell that this is a unique e-stamp or rather a stamp which was used for this particular agreement. And similarly, like this first party name as well. And if you want, you can add a second party name as well. So this is a unique legend which ties this particular stamp to the agreement. Customer will just see this stamp, they'll see the agreement, and they'll proceed to e-sign it. You can e-sign it 15 plus ways via Leegality. I'm just using a Aadhaar e-sign for this demo. So I'll just quickly enter my Aadhaar number. And setting this up is actually quite easy, and I'll show you literally within a minute of doing this. I'll just enter my Aadhaar number and I'll do OTP verification to e-sign this document as your signer. Yeah. So this document has been signed. As soon as I sign it, I get the PDF of the agreement that we just signed on my WhatsApp. You can send it to SMS and email also if you want. So if you'll see, my signature is on the stamp paper as well there. If you want, you can place it anywhere on the stamp. If you want this signature to overlap with the legend, you can do that also. Similarly, it will be available on your agreement as well. And let's see what the audit trail for this particular agreement will look like. In the audit trail as well, what we've done is we've captured the stamp doc ID and the stamp serial number. So both of these information will be available to you in the audit trail as well. So you can tie back that particular e-stamp to a specific document. Now, how do you set this up? For that, it's like a first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to come to your legality dashboard, and then in the stamps tab you'll have to create a stamp series is basically you deciding in which state you want to, or rather telling us in which state you want to do the stamping, what is the denomination for that stamping that you want to use, what is the article code you want to use. And once you've created that stamp series, just enter where you want us to ship the physical copy of that stamp paper and click on create series. Because I already have like a lot of stamp series available, so you can see Delhi one, for example. This is a stamp series that I use very often, and it will give you a lot of details about how many have been used, how many have been reserved in documents which are yet to be signed, how many stamps were expired, and in certain states you can also extend this expiry date. And if you want to purchase or procure more stamps, if your stamp series is done, all you need to do is click on this purchase, enter the quantity. Let's say I want to purchase 100 and click on purchase. Yeah, it's that simple. I just had to click on that purchase, come to my billing and click on buy. So that's how you set up stamping within legality. Now, how do you use it in agreement? So you can either pass a PDF or select a template. Let's say I just use this test template. It's quite simple for me. I can just either, I don't want to upload a stamp, so I'll just use a stamp, and this is the stamp series that we just made. All the series that are available to you or that you make will be available to you under this toggle, and you can select whichever one you want. Let's say I want to go with 100 rupees Delhi stamp, or I want to fix multiple stamps. I can do that also. Same, let's say 100 rupee Delhi stamp, and I want to add three stamps of this. If I want, I can also add revenue stamps if you use that. Or if you want, you can also upload your own stamps. But for the sake of this demo, we're going to use the stamp series. So three stamps of 100 rupees in Delhi. We'll click on next. This is my test agreement. Then you can just add whoever you want to sign that particular agreement. In this case, I just want to sign it myself. I'll just start my details. And this stamp series is now available. This is my stamp 3 and stamps serial ID for all three stamps, plus the unique identifier number for each has been printed on the agreement. And you can just send it to the customer and they can, e-sign in a very similar way how we just saw. And you don't really need to go anywhere. Again, just to reiterate, you don't need to go anywhere outside of the legality platform. You can manage your entire stamp inventory directly from this stamping tab. Let's say Gujarat, if you get a good idea of how many are used, how many are unused, how many are reserved, expired, and purchased directly from it. I think with that, the demo comes to an end. Aditya, do you want me to show anything else? Awesome. Awesome.
Shubhash, thank you. So yes, and we will be sending a recording of that demo along with the recording of the rest of this webinar by Monday. Meanwhile, we've collated an eStamp evaluation checklist combining the legal and the operational stuff all into one checklist. You can use this again to audit your existing process. You can use it to evaluate a process that you're looking to build or buy. And of course, if you are considering buying, we hope you consider Leegality BharatStamp. We do check all the boxes. And as we mentioned, we are about to launch completely inventoryless, paperless digital stamping next month. We also have a wider product offering, right? Stamping is part of our document execution suite. We also have Consent-In, our DPDP and privacy compliance platform, SignStation, which is a doc signer utility for invoice signing, NESL EBG for BFSI companies here to run and manage your electronic bank guarantees, and of course, digital contracts, which ties into document execution, which is basically AI-powered contract review, renewal reminders, and negotiation. And yeah, a lot of you looking for privacy compliance, we've just launched our second category of product, which is Consent-In, where you can collect and manage data consent in compliance with the DPDP Act. You can manage privacy rights requests and revocation requests. You can run data discovery across structured and unstructured data. If you're interested in this, or you know someone who would be within your organization, you can forward them this QR code, or you can scan the QR code and book a demo. And finally, if you're interested in more such webinars, if you're interested in information about relevant regulatory or legal updates, the latest product updates from Leegality, the latest case studies from Leegality, you can sign up for our weekly updates facility. You can choose whether you want it on WhatsApp or email, right? We do one a week. Sometimes we do one every 2 weeks. We do not spam your inbox. So do scan and sign up for our updates if you're interested. With that, I think we're done with the webinar, but there are two questions that we'll take up in the Q&A box before that, and keep adding questions into the Q&A box. We will take them up. So one question is, please suggest how to execute the physical stamp on the Leegality platform fully compliant. I think how Shubhesh showed it. So just look at the recording. We will also share some links along with the recording, which will give you a text-based step-by-step guidance on the various ways you can do it. In a minute, we'll again maybe show you on the dashboard there are two ways to do it. Another question we've received is, I have questions on article availability in physical stamp paper, first party, second party. For this, let's connect offline. So anyone who has questions on this, because you will have your own unique cases and unique requirements, let's connect offline on this. You can reply to the email we send you on Monday, and we will happy to do a connect. All right, you can reply with your details, and we'll be happy to respond as well. We will also share some material with the recording that may help you answer this question as well. So yeah, please, let's answer that question. Please suggest how to execute the physical stamp on the Leegality platform in a fully compliant way. There are primarily two ways to do this. I think we'll let Shubhesh share his screen again.
Hi, I'll just share my screen. Yeah, so whenever you're sending a agreement to get e-signed, all you need to do is click on this upload stamp, and this will open this pop-up panel, pop-up, whatever you want to call it, and you just enter the details of that stamp. Like, let's say it was in Delhi, it's 100 rupees, first party is my company, second party is your company. You have a stamp serial number, and you just upload the PDF version of that stamp using this and click on save. Then this physical stamp will get affixed on the agreement itself. One thing to note here is everything that we were doing in our stamping, you'll have to make sure that you do in the physical stamp yourself, which is essentially the defacement of that stamp. If you choose to upload stamp, we will not be doing the defacement. I hope that answers the query.
The next question we have is, why do we need physical stamp? Which we did mention that we will send it to the institution if you do eStamp. Great question. So e-stamping in India, in a lot of states, is a misnomer. It doesn't actually refer to a fully digital stamp. It refers to the stamp being generated completely digitally and then digitized, right? That's what eStamp actually is. So it's generated digitally, the ledger is digital, but you actually use it physically. So that's what eStamp is in a lot of states, right? So that's what we mean when we say eStamp. In some states, it's available only in physical form. You even generate it digitally, you print it physically, you again digitize it, right? So in those states, you do need a physical stamp because we have to procure a physical stamp and then digitize it. There are, of course, some states like Haryana or Jharkhand where it's completely digital, where you don't need a physical stamp, right? And of course, next month, we will be launching completely paperless stamping. So even if you do e-stamp, you won't need a physical stamp in some states, right? So that's the thing. But the broad thing is, in some states, e-stamp doesn't mean fully digital. It simply means it's generated digitally, printed physically. In some states, it's of course fully digital. There, we don't have the need for physical papers. But yeah, so it actually is very state by state dependent. So in the states where e-stamp is actually still physical, where you generate it digitally and print it, we do have to send you the physical stamp there. So another question is, if I do not have physical stamp and want to create an e-stamp from Leegality, how can I do it? So again, you can order it through the Leegality dashboard. Maybe we can quickly show the order flow on Sandbox quickly. So Shubhesh will share his screen again and quickly show the order flow.
Okay. Great. So if you want to procure stamps, I'll just go to the new dashboard. You just go to stamps. Let's say I want to procure this Delhi stamp. You just click on this purchase and you enter the quantity. Let's say I want to buy 1,000 of these stamps. Click on this purchase. It will come to your billing profile. Just review the quantity and per stamp cost, and then click on add balance, and this will start the procurement. As soon as you do this, we're going to get a request for this. Our team is going to procure the physical version of the stamp. They're going to deface it, digitize it, and within 5 to 7 days it's going to be available in your legality dashboard to be used. And you can create as many stamp requests as you want similarly.
Cool. Any more questions? You can drop them in the Q&A. You can also raise your hand and we will give you mic access. So in case you want to do that, you can do that. Okay, one more question in the Q&A box. Can you please show one stamp for Gujarat state? So let's connect offline on this. We have a demo stamp available on the dashboard. So we can't show stamps on request. If you order a stamp, you will get that stamp, right? We do this for 400 plus companies, but we cannot show a current stamp in the demo. Actually, one more quick thing, and Shubhash will reshare. I'm going to ask Shubhash to reshare his screen again. For a lot of you who don't have a legality account, you don't need to actually speak to our sales team to create one. You can actually create one right after this webinar. We'll share the details on Monday on how to do it, but Shubhash will show you. Just go to our website. So Shubhash will show you. There's basically a license-free plan you can start, and stamping is available on that plan. It's called the basic plan. Yeah.
Okay. So all you need to do is go to our website leegality.com. On this, go to this sign in register and click on this sign up. Here you'll see like two options. If one is the advanced plan, which is for big corporations who are executing more than 1,500 documents in a month, and then there is a basic plan which you can just get started with right away without any sales involvement in this. Just enter your email ID and phone number. Let's say I want to create my account. I created with this phone number because I already have a basic plan account with my other details. It will give me a login OTP. Just entering that. I'll enter my name and click on sign up. Now I'll have to create a password. Let's say and that's it. It's that easy. I'm into the basic plan. First thing I'll have to do is buy e-sign credit so that I can actually get my documents e-signed. And next is you get access to stamping as well. For stamping, you just write to us in your basic plan. We'll enable that stamping, and for that stamping, then you can actually stamp it across India in whichever state you want. For one state, we will give you the stamping series also. You can put in procurement order with us. We'll deface it, digitize it, and make you available it to you no matter in which state you want it. Let's say you want it in Gujarat, you'll get it in Gujarat. You want it in Mumbai, you'll get it in Mumbai. You want it in Karnataka, you'll get it in Karnataka. Basically, wherever you are doing that e-stamping, you will have that e-stamp. If you want it in multiple states, yeah, definitely what you can do is you can make one stamp series with us. And for other states, you can just procure it yourself, deface, and upload it the way I showed you in the upload stamp. Oh, sorry. I just got to know like we are actually making it available soon in basic plan across states as well. So no matter how many states you're doing e-stamping in, with basic plan, it's going to be available in all states across India. So yeah, you can create as many stamp series as you want in the basic plan as well. And this will not require any investment upfront from you. This will not require you to speak to a single legality salesperson or anyone in legality. All you need to do is go to legality.com, sign up, and we'll ensure you have enough resources to get started and start executing your documents with e-stamps across India.
Great, thanks, Shubhash. So one other question we received is once you order the stamp, like once I order the stamp, it will be delivered on my shipping address. Yes, absolutely. The address that you put, there's a shipping address, it will be delivered to that address. Will it be visible on the Leegality website? Not on our public website. It will be visible on your dashboard. So the order status will be visible. Like you will have access to view the order status and the order history as well. Do we have any other questions? Please do drop them in the Q&A. So how many days will I get it on the dashboard? Great question. It takes about 7 to 10 working days from the time you place the order. So and also that's 7 to 10 days for the entire order. So let's say you order 500 states of Maharashtra, 500 stamp papers of Maharashtra state 100 rupee denomination. All 500 will be available for instant use by the 10th working day, right? If you order 5, I mean, the minimum order is 30. If you order 30, that will also be available within 30 working days. Sorry, 10 working days in your dashboard. Yeah, 10 working days in your dashboard and a few extra days for physical delivery. Shubhash will also drop our contact coordinates. But actually, the easiest way, honestly, to do it is when we send you the recording on Monday, just reply to that email, right? That's the easiest way to reach out to us. But in any case, Shubhash will be dropping our email IDs in the chat below. You can like reach out to us anytime. Do mention digital stamping or digital stamping webinar in the email if you're emailing us. It'll help surface it in our inbox. Otherwise, the easiest way is just wait for our email on Monday and reply to us. But either works. Also, I think a few of you had questions on how can we see where stamping is available through Leegality or not. So I'm linking our digital stamping homepage in the chat. There's a table there. You can see where Leegality services stamping. Yep. We see one more question. In stamp series, I won't be able to write all second parties' names. So how will I receive my stamp papers? Yes, correct. There will be no second party name. You don't need the second party name. You simply need the agreement's unique ID and you need the first party name. So our system ensures both, right? Let's connect offline. Like we can explain the operational things, but yes, there's no second party name. Second party name will come when we do our completely inventory list on the fly stamping next month with SHCIL. Yeah. So until then, basically what you put in second party name is the title, generic title. That this is the renter, this is the tenant, this is the buyer, right? But what happens and what we ensure is there will be a unique ID to the stamp paper that is then tied to the agreement. And we will share details on how you can start ordering stamps on Monday. But some of you want it before that, like we will reach out to you offline. Any other questions? We'll give it 2 more minutes. Do drop your questions. Otherwise, you can reply to the email on Monday with any questions or if you want to fix a meeting. Cool. I think first of all, thank you all for attending on a Friday. It's always a pleasure. And we hope to do this sometime soon. I think we will do one more around the time of our digital stamping launch next month. But yeah, thank you for attending and thank you for all the questions. And do be on the lookout on Monday in your email inbox. Either today evening or Monday, just either today evening or Monday, just be on the lookout in your email inbox for an email from us. All the details will be there. Cool. I think we'll end the webinar. Thank you all and have a great weekend.